All right, perfect. Thank you. So, as all of you know, the topic of today's session is the 3 steps to create a compelling coaching package. And I'll give you a brief background about me a bit later, but to keep it very short for now, I'm a certified trainer of NLP. I'm an ICF trained coach and also an international speaker. Before I go anywhere deeper into the topic, I want to thank 2 people without whom this session would never be possible. And it's none other than Kenneth and Namrata. So I have a small request to all of you. If you could please unmute yourself. And I'm going to say 3, 2, 1. And when I say that, please repeat after me. Thank you, Kenneth. Thank you, Namrata. So let's do it again. 3.
Thank you, Kenneth.
Okay.
Thank you, Namrata.
Thank you, Kenneth.
Thank you, Kenneth. Thank you, Namrata.
Thank you, Kenneth. Thank you, Namrata.
Thank you, Namrata. Thank you.
Wow, that was beautiful. But the thank you is to the coaching journey community WhatsApp and to all the builders actually. So. You're on mute, Akhilesh.
Okay, sorry about that. Something happened to my Wi-Fi. The moment I was saying thank you to all of you, something happened. Anyway, let's do it again. Let's do it one more time, everyone. So if you could repeat after me. Thank you, Kenneth. Thank you, Namrata.
Thank you, Kenneth.
Thank you, Kenneth. Thank you, Namrata.
Thank you, Kenneth. Thank you, Namrata.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much, everyone, for doing that. So let's go forward. So first of all, I want to clear, some expectations about this masterclass because, a lot of you might have different expectations, different things that you might anticipate about this masterclass. And let me share with you what this masterclass is not about. Okay, so number one, this masterclass is not about how to make $10,000 or more per month in your coaching business. Although that's possible, that's not the focus of today's topic, because a lot of people, when you talk about creating an attractive offer, a compelling offer, people relate it only to the money aspect. It is true in some aspects, but I'm not promising you any certain amount that you will make. My promise is to help you create a compelling offer first. All right. Second, it's also not about how to quit your job today and start following your passion tomorrow. And also, it is not about some secret magical strategy to make $1 million overnight or 1 million followers overnight. Everything I'm going to share with you will require effort and will require work. But when you do it, you will actually be able to create a very compelling offer and make your coaching business more successful. All right. So what is this masterclass about then? I have 3 promises for all of you for this masterclass. Number one, by the end of this masterclass, you will have a very clear idea about the very first step in monetizing your coaching skills and knowledge. And it means exactly the same thing as the first step in knowing how to create a compelling package. Okay. Second, you will also know how to sell your coaching services without being salesy or pushy. And the reason I say that is because just having a compelling offer by itself is not enough, right? We need to know how to sell in a way that is very authentic and being true to yourself. So I'll share with you how to do that. And the third and the last promise is how to attract potential clients online and offline. I'll share with you some underlying principles on how to do that successfully, irrespective of what niche you're in. Okay, so if that sounds good to you, please put yes in the chat box. That sounds good. Please put yes in the chat. Okay, excellent. Very good. Thank you for the engagement. And I will be asking for a lot of engagement because this session has to be an interactive session so we can actually, take a lot of takeaways out of it and implement it. Okay. So just to give you a brief introduction about me, my name is Akhilesh, but you can call me Aki. And my journey as a coach and a trainer started back in 2017. At the time, I was living in Bangkok, Thailand. So initially, when I finished my coach training, I struggled with some common challenges that a lot of new coaches go through. And it took me almost 2 years to really figure out all the business side of being a coach, because I'm pretty sure all of you here might have realized by now, coaching a client is one skill set, but the business is a different skill set. So it took me about 2 years to really understand that. And before I started my own coaching business, I was working with a coaching and training company based in Bangkok, Thailand. And after about 2 years, I started to, when I understood about the business side, I wanted to help other coaches do the same thing. So it started as a side gig for me in the beginning, and I was doing seminars. This was pre-COVID days. So the focus is mainly on live training. So I started to do seminars. And after COVID and during COVID, I've done numerous amount of workshops, online masterclasses just like this, online coaching programs and trainings and all of these things. And so far, I've had the opportunity to work with coaches and trainers from more than 21 different countries. And all of these things is actually about only one main thing. And that is, how do you take your coaching skills, your knowledge, everything you learned from your coach training and create a compelling offer, irrespective of what niche you want to be, who you want to work with, so that you can actually monetize your coaching skills. So that's the entire focus of my work. Okay. So I want to share with you a few challenges that I had when I got started back in 2017. And I believe a lot of you may be able to relate with these challenges. So the first challenge I had was I did not know how to utilize the chemistry session to create goals and package. Or in other words, how do you use the chemistry session to make a person go from a prospective client into a paying coaching client? So I had no idea how to do that. Second, how to convert a prospective client into a paid client at the end of a chemistry session. I didn't know how to do that as well. Thirdly, I was a bit worried about and unclear about the pricing. What if I underprice? What if I overprice? So I had no framework in doing that. And fourthly, I was really afraid of sales and literally hated selling actually to begin with. And lastly, I had no idea how to attract serious clients, because when I first got started, I was doing a lot of free coaching sessions. And what I felt was that a lot of people come into these free sessions, and the moment you start talking about the pricing and getting them to hire you as their coach, people tend to make some kind of excuses, and most people end up not hiring you as their coach. So these are some challenges that I had, and I'm curious to know about yours. So other than these challenges that I mentioned, what are the current challenges that you have in this moment, preferably in the context of creating a compelling offer? What are your challenges? Please put them in the chat box. So what other challenges do you have other than everything I mentioned? What clients come back with a counter offer that is embarrassing? Interesting. I can relate. How to brand myself? Does niche matter? Getting clients who need my service as a coach, know that I'm here. Okay. These are really, really valid challenges. A lot of people face it. Anything else? Anyone? Any other challenges? Niche important. Yeah, deciding a niche skill set. Where is the competition? Okay. All right. Thank you to everybody who shared. Madhulika says being able to make an entry foot in the door in MNCs and PSU due to a different background I have. Okay. All right. So by the end of today's masterclass, you will have answers to almost all of these challenges. But if not, if your questions are still unanswered, we have a Q&A session at the end of the content, and please feel free to ask your questions there. Okay. So let's dive deep into the content, the 3 steps to create a compelling coaching package. Step number 1, I want to introduce to you a system which really helped me understand how to create a very compelling package. And that is called the RPS. So RPS basically stands for Results Planning System. And I'm very sure many of you, or maybe most of you, know who Tony Robbins is. So Tony Robbins is one of my role models, and I've learned a lot from him in terms of personal development, coaching, NLP, training, public speaking, all of that. So this system that I'm going to share with you is a framework of how I was able to understand the real purpose behind creating a compelling offer, compelling package for your coaching program. Offer and package is basically the same thing. And I'm going to share with you the same system so that you will have a very thorough understanding of the foundation necessary to create a compelling package. Okay, so let's have a look at the basic formula to achieve a goal. So all of us have goals, right? And obviously the people who you coach or the people who come to your chemistry sessions, they also have some kind of goal. It might be a career goal, it might be a relationship goal, whatever that might be. So a basic formula looks like this. You know, you have a goal, you take action, and you get results, right? But is it that simple in real life? What do you think? It's absolutely not, right? So if it were so simple, I think coaches and trainers won't exist, right? If people don't need help with this, then there's no point for coaches and trainers. So let me ask you a different question now. Let's imagine there are two people who have the same goal. One person achieves the goal and the other person doesn't. What is the difference between these two people? What do you think? Please put them in the chat. Intention, okay, interesting. Any other differences? Two people with the same goal, one person achieves it, the other person doesn't. Steps, approach, yeah. Mindset, commitment, okay. How much one is invested, interesting. Several variables, actually, yeah. Action, understanding the goal better. Okay. All right, very interesting answers. Thank you, everybody. All of these answers are correct. There's no right or wrong. Whatever you feel is important, please share it. Desperation, okay, interesting. Let me share with you the RPS, and I believe you will all be able to relate with this. So there's only one area where there's a difference between a normal goal setting process and the RPS, and that is between goal and action. There are a few things that people struggle with. And this is the reason why coaches and as coaches exist. And this is how you will know how to create a very compelling offer for your services. Number one, the first thing people struggle with is their state, their emotional state. So state basically means how you feel in any given moment, right? So, for example, if you have something important to do and you're feeling demotivated or sad or disappointed, it won't allow you to take action and get the results you want, right? So that's the first thing. And the second thing that people struggle with is values. So one of the things that people really struggle with, you know, if they want a certain result in their life and they're living a life which is opposite to their values, that is also a problem. So I remember, like, in the early stages of my career as a coach, one of the challenges that I had was I was not valuing making money. So let me explain what that means. So a lot of us coaches, we are nice people, right? And we want to help other people. And because of that reason, when we have to talk about money, we feel like difficult and we don't want to talk about it. It feels strange. But one thing I realized is during my early stages, I was doing a lot to help other people, like giving free coaching at the expense of satisfying my own needs. So basically, although I wanted to, make an income as a coach and build a business out of it, I was not valuing making money. So what that meant was we have to value making money as a coach. So this is for a coach in the context of building a coaching business, but there are many other things that people struggle with respect to living a life which is aligned with their values, okay? Third one is beliefs, basically limiting beliefs. I'm not good enough, I'm not confident enough, I'm not good looking, my English is not good, whatever that might be. So limiting beliefs. Fourth is mindset, which a lot of you have mentioned already. And the next one is inner dialogue. Now, what I mean by that is, how many of you have realized that we have two voices in our head? One voice is a positive one. It says, you're amazing, you're brilliant, you can do it. And the other voice basically wears you down. It tells you all the negative stuff. It tells you everything that's not possible. So when we work with our clients and when prospective clients come to us in a chemistry session or a free coaching session, they're struggling with the same thing, right? So the last one is strategies. So strategies basically how to do something. 5 steps to do X, Y, Z, 7 steps to do ABC. So why is this important? In order for you to create a compelling package, it's very important that for whatever niche that you want to work in, you understand what are the states that your clients, your future clients are struggling with. What are the values that they're not prioritizing? What are the limiting beliefs holding them back? What are the mindset challenges that's stopping them from succeeding? And what's the inner conversation in their head that's stopping you from moving forward? And lastly, what are the things that they need to find a strategy to implement? For example, how to get into an empowered, confident state of mind. That could be a strategy. How to get a promotion. That could be also one strategy, right? So in order for you to create a very compelling package, it's important that you understand all these different things: state, values, beliefs, mindset, inner dialogue, and strategies. So are you following me so far? If you're following me so far, please put 1 in the chat. Gurunath says totally agree. Okay, I'm glad that you agree. All right, very good. So I'm glad all of you are following so far. So what we're actually doing right now is, think about your compelling offer. Think about the compelling coaching package that you want to create as a skyscraper, right? So if you want to build a skyscraper, what's the first thing you do? What's the first thing you do? You build a strong foundation, right? So what we're doing now is the foundation work. And as we go through this masterclass, I'll be talking about the different steps so that by the end of it, you will have everything necessary to create your compelling package. Okay. So now that you've understood these things, let's have a look at the Wheel of Life. So I'm very sure as coaches, all of us are very familiar with the Wheel of Life. And one of the things that is that'll make it easy for you to understand where your niche is and who is your niche, who's the niche customer, what is the niche that you should be looking for, is to look at the Wheel of Life. And at this moment, if you're not clear about what your niche is, look at any one area of the Wheel of Life and choose one area where you are able to help your clients. At this moment, you're able to help your clients in the best possible way. So, for example, if your health, if you're very fit and you're healthy and energetic, perhaps health could be one area where you can coach people, because it's not only about the physical, it's about the mental aspect as well. Perhaps you have a successful business, or maybe you can become a business coach, right? If you're good with your finances, you could help others in that area as well. So similarly, if you're not clear about your niche, look at the Wheel of Life and choose one area where at this moment you have most chances of helping a client. Okay. So the next step to do is to identify your niche and your positioning. So what I mean by that is choose one area from the Wheel of Life which improved a lot as a result of you completing your coach training. And by the way, at this moment, I'm talking to specifically those of you who are not clear about your niche. If you're clear about your niche, I would still recommend you to go through this activity, but I'm doing this especially for people who are not clear about your niche. So if you have a piece of pen and paper or your iPad or your mobile, whatever, I'd like you to write down one area. I'll show you the Wheel of Life again. And write down one area from the Wheel of Life which improved a lot as a result of completing your coach training. So think about your own journey and choose one area from the Wheel of Life. So let's have 30 seconds for that. And I'll switch on my timer. Pick any one area. There's no right or wrong. Whatever feels right to you, that's fine. Okay, if you are done, you can put done in the chat box so that we know how many of you have finished. Okay, wow, okay. A lot of people have finished it. Interesting. Great. So let's go to the next step then. Once you've identified which area from the Wheel of Life you can help people in, the next step is to list down 5 positive changes that happen for you in that area of life. By the way, all of these things will connect to your compelling offer. So please go through this. I'll give you 2 minutes. List down 5 positive changes that happen for you in that area of life. Time starts now. Let's have 2 minutes for this. If you finished it, if you're okay with sharing it in the chat, please do that because, people love to learn from each other. If you're okay to share what are the 5 changes that happened in your life as a result of your coach training, please share them in the chat. Okay, 30 seconds more. Skills upgraded, more sleep, better health, lost weight. Oh, wow. That is it's very positive. I'm really happy for you, Gurunath. Yeah, work-life balance, more sleep. Interesting. Good one. Okay, good. So let's continue forward. Next, and the last activity in this area of the topic is list down 5 challenges you could help other people solve as a coach. So now that you know what are the 5 changes that happen in your life, list down 5 challenges you could help other people solve. We'll have 2 minutes for that. Time starts now. One of the interesting things about creating a coaching package is that the journey that you've been through, in many ways, it will be the same as what you can help other people with. So having clarity on what you can help other people with is very important to create your, your offer. Hey, Leela has to leave. Okay, no problem, Leela. Thank you for joining us. And I hope you can join us for the next future master classes. No worries. Twenty seconds more, and then we can proceed to the next topic. All right. Okay. So if you have not finished, it's okay. You can finish the activity after the masterclass. Let's come back. Please come back. If you're able to follow me so far, please put number 2 in the chat. Okay. Very good. All right. So now let me share with you how you can use what you just written down in terms of creating your compelling offer. Okay. So there is something called niche, right? And I mean, all of you know what that means. And there's something called positioning. So positioning means how you are showcasing yourself inside that niche. I'll give you a few examples. So let's say you are passionate about helping others improve their health. So health could be your niche, and your positioning could be helping, let's say, helping corporate professionals improve their mental health. Or other way to position you could be helping single moms improve their emotional health. Or another way you can do could be helping directors and CEOs to improve their overall health, and includes mental and physical. So that's some examples in the area of health. So let's say you're in the area of relationships and helping people improve the relationships, right? So relationships is the niche, and the positioning could be helping teenagers improve the relationship with their parents. So that's one example. I have a client based in South Africa, I mean, from South Africa, but based in Abu Dhabi. And a few years ago, when I worked with her, she told me about something very interesting. She is in a niche where she's helping mothers and daughters bridge the gap between their relationship. So what she was saying to me was, you know, when daughters get married, when they go to their in-laws' house, many things change, and a lot of mothers don't have the same relationship with their daughters anymore. So she was very passionate about helping mothers and daughters bridge the gap in the relationship because she herself went through that journey, right? So that's one example. And if you're passionate about career, helping people improve their career or start a business, career or business could be a niche, and your positioning could be helping people improve their interview performance, or helping people get a promotion, helping first-time managers become outstanding leaders, something like that. Okay. So I'd like to have one person to be a volunteer, and I have a very specific question to that person. But I'm going to ask you that question only after you volunteer. All right. So who would like to volunteer? Please raise your hand if you'd like to volunteer. Gurunath, yes. Awesome. You have been really active. Thank you for that. Please turn on your microphone. Madhulika, I'll come to you for the next one. Okay. Hi, Gurunath. How are you?
I'm good, Aki. Thank you so much for this fantastic session.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your active participation. So my question, and by the way, as I'm asking Gurunath this question, I'm asking this to all of you. So encourage all of you to find the answer to this question for yourself. Okay. So the question is, what is your niche? And how would you like to position yourself inside that niche, Gurunath?
I don't know yet, Aki, to be honest.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you've been through this exercise that we've done, right? Which is choosing one area. So what have you written down? If you can share with us.
Yeah, I said I've had flexibility with my time, balance with my work and life. I have wanted to lose some weight, which I did. I improved my number of hours of sleep, and by going on this coaching journey, I definitely have some new skills. So those are the 5 things.
Okay, interesting. So out of the 5 things, right? So for example, you improved your sleep, you lost some weight, right? So out of these 5 things, which one made you feel really proud of yourself the most?
Definitely the weight loss.
Absolutely. So I would like you to think about the Gurunath you were before you lost the weight. Okay.
Yes.
So what was the biggest pain point you had when you were, perhaps overweight?
The self-image.
Okay. What does self-image mean to you?
It was embarrassing to be, seen in photographs with this big paunch sticking out of my stomach, which I don't like. And of course, there is this, subliminal or underlying sense of guilt and even fear that, this
Yeah.
might lead to other knock-on, ill health effects.
Absolutely.
So it was bearing me down, and though I was very energetic, but it was not sustainable. And also, I do participate in certain social events, and where I have looked at other human body forms and felt very scared about seeing those body forms. And
Hmm.
I didn't want to become one of those body forms. So these are all the motivators for me to do something about it. And to be honest, I just could not succeed. It took me, it made me $40,000 richer. And in terms of weight, I lost $40,000, rupees of weight from my purse, and then got to know a whole bunch of different techniques to, get through this. And it was phenomenal when I actually saw the weight dropping. It was absolutely life changing.
Amazing. Before I go forward, everyone, can we please have a round of applause for Gurunath? This is really amazing because, yeah, I'm really happy for you because, a lot of people go through a journey like this and a lot of people don't take any action, right? And you've done it yourself in your life. And I really strongly believe whoever you're going to help going forward as a coach, they'll really benefit from working with you because you've done it in your own life. And in my experience in the last 6 years, the coaches who work on themselves first, the coaches who coach themselves first are always the best coaches and can help other people produce results. Okay. So coming back to the topic. So from everything you've said, what I understand is health is an area that you're really serious about.
Yeah.
So my next question is, are you also willing and interested in helping others improve their health?
100%.
Absolutely. Excellent. So let me share with you, if you haven't understood it yet, the health could be one niche
Yes,
that could
totally.
really, yeah. So the next
Yeah. So
question,
when you showed me, so Aki, when you showed me the life thing,
yeah.
I had already zoomed in on health, so you nailed it.
Perfect. Awesome. So the next question I have for you, and this is to help you identify your positioning. Okay.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of different kind of people, right? In different age groups, different backgrounds, different cultures. So is there any particular group of people that you're drawn towards helping? For example, people in their late 40s, people who are directors or CEOs, or maybe housewives, do you have any interest towards a particular group?
Yeah, I mean, I can start off by saying middle managers because those are the most stressed out people.
Okay, excellent. So that, in like 5 minutes, we have some level of clarity now for your niche and your positioning. So if I could share with you in one line, your niche and your positioning statement could be, I help mid-level managers, improve their health and improve their self-image.
Yeah, I get it. The only little issue there, though, Aki, is I had outsourced this whole exercise of putting me through that weight loss process.
Yeah.
It's not my intellectual property. Actually, so it was another very well-known Indian organization that helped me do it.
Yeah.
So the only small print there is I can only point them to go to that source, which actually can deliver it for them.
Yeah.
It won't be my effort. So in that sense, I struggle a little bit.
Well,
I wish
that's a different challenge, and that's actually a good challenge in my opinion, because you're thinking about how to create your own framework or system on doing it, right? So I'm sure you'll get many of the answers, by the end of this master.
But I got the pattern. Aki. Well done.
Thank you, Gurunath. So let's have a round of applause for him again. All right, very good. So coming back to this exercise, this is one way for you to understand your niche and your positioning. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the very first step in monetizing and to decide your niche and positioning and articulate what problems you can help people overcome. And that was my promise number 1. So if you think I kept my promise, please put 1 in the chat. Okay, all right. So now that you know the very first step to monetizing your niche and your positioning, let's go to the second and a really important topic, which is how to sell your coaching services without being pushy or salesy. Now, some of you might recognize this gentleman. So if you don't, let me share with you who this is. This gentleman is a legend in the world of ICF and in the world of coaching. And when I was in Bangkok, Thailand, I had the pleasure to learn from him and be part of many of his trainings. So his name is Mr. Jean-François Cousin. We call him JFC. He is from France, and he was the 2019 global chairman of ICF. And I had the opportunity to actually work with him as well. I hired him as my coach because I wanted to learn from him and have him coach me. So one of the things that I learned from him when I was attending many of his trainings is that he is so authentic, probably the most humble and authentic coach I've seen in my entire career so far. And one thing I learned from him is that selling can be authentic. It doesn't have to be pushy or manipulative, or you don't have to force somebody to work with you. It can be a very authentic process. And I'll share with you how I came about to learn that. And before that, I want to share with you some limiting beliefs that I had about selling. And I actually broke a few limiting beliefs about selling and developed new empowering beliefs. Number one, I used to think that selling is a bad thing. But what I realized was selling is actually helping if you really believe in whatever it is that you're helping other people do as a coach. So how many of you really believe in what you do as a coach? How many of you really believe in the value that you can create as a coach? Madhulika has a question. Yes, go ahead. Quickly.
No, I don't have a question. I'm raising my hand saying yes. I love
Okay.
yeah,
All
I
right,
love
perfect.
selling.
So awesome, excellent. Thank you for that. So I invite all of you to adopt these kind of empowering beliefs about selling, because before you go ahead and know how to sell in a way that is authentic, we have to have the right beliefs, right? So as long as you believe in what you're selling as a coach, you're helping people every time you sell. Okay. Second, I realized that if I don't make an effort to sell my coaching and training programs, the people who could have benefited from it will suffer. Yeah, so it's the same thing for you. So the more you delay selling your programs, the people who can benefit from it are suffering, right? And I'm very sure all of us are very contribution minded. We want to help other people. We want to contribute, right? Next one, nobody likes to be sold, but everybody likes to buy. Like how many of you have got phone calls, right, from banks or some other companies trying to sell you things and kind of force their product on you? Nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to be sold, but everybody likes to buy as long as they see the value in it. So I invite all of you, starting from this moment, to adopt these kind of beliefs, empowering beliefs, if you don't already have them. If you have them, that's perfect. So let me share with you how to sell without being salesy or pushy. So the first thing is that to understand, when you work with your clients as a coach, you're actually taking them on a journey. So in fact, I'd like to demonstrate that. So let me share with you. If you can see my whiteboard, please let me know. Please give me a thumbs up. Okay, all right. By the way, I'm going to attempt to draw something. I'm terrible at drawing, but I'm going to try it anyway, all right? So this is, imagine your future client, your prospective client, okay? So he or she, when they come to you, they want something, right? They want to overcome a certain challenge. They want to achieve a certain result. So I'm gonna call that R, okay? So this R, the result could be anything. It could be improving their self-awareness, improving their self-image, having a better relationship with their spouse, having a better relationship with their children or with their parents. Or it could be getting a promotion, starting a business, whatever that might be. So when you want to create a compelling package, basically, in my opinion, creating a compelling package has to be a reflection of the journey that your clients will take with you when you work with them. Okay, so let me demonstrate this. So for the purpose of this session, I'm going to divide that client transformation journey into 3 steps. Okay. So I'm saying 3 steps because this topic of today's session is the 3 steps to create a compelling package. So imagine that when your clients go work with you and you're talking to somebody in a chemistry session or a discovery session, this is the thing that they need to understand. As a coach, you're not there to give them all the answers. Maybe you can give them some from time to time if you ask them for permission, for suggestion. But other than that, they have to go through a journey. Right. So I invite all of you to think about what is that journey that someone will take with you if they pay you and if they hire you as your coach. So let me give you a few examples. Okay. So I'm going to call it 1. This is the first phase or the first stage or the first step, whatever you want to call it. And this is the second one. And this is the third one. So I'll give you a few examples. So in my case, because I help coaches like yourself get paying clients and build their business, the first step I do when I'm working with someone is to help them create a compelling package. That's the first thing I do. Second thing is I help them to understand how to sell that, overcome objections in selling, counter objection, all these kind of things. The third step is I teach them 5 different ways to find prospective clients online and offline without doing any paid ads. So this is the 3-step process, the 3-step journey I take with my clients when someone works with me. I'll give you one more example. One of my good friend is a career coach, and what he does is he helps IT professionals get into office. So he is coaching someone the very first. Now, there are a few different steps. Clarity on what is the current challenge, what are their, is he helps them with the last step is, this is where he's sure all of you can relate. If you want to get a promotion or do a job switch, having the right connections is so important, right? So one more example is one of my clients is helping mid-level managers, first-time managers become better leaders. So the very first step that she does is she does something called assess. So the very first stage is called assess, and this is where she assesses where that person stands right now as a leader. What are his or her strengths? What are their areas of improvement? What is it that they can contribute to in the organization? So the second step, she calls it activate. So this is where she helps them to adopt new beliefs, overcome limiting beliefs, adopt new beliefs, new habits, new mindsets, so that they can slowly make the journey towards becoming a better leader, an outstanding leader. So the last step is what she calls accelerate. So at this stage, she's sharing with them, helping them to basically get into the really high level leadership ability and take their leadership game to an all new level. So basically what she's doing is, when she's talking with a potential client in a chemistry session or discovery session, she's showing them the journey that she will take them through when they decide to hire her as their coach. Okay, so my point is that in order for you to create a compelling package, you have to know what is that journey that your clients will take with you when they decide to work with you. Now, one of the by the way, I have a question. How many of you have ever been in a situation where you did an outstanding job in a free session, in a chemistry session, and at the end of it, when you start to talk about, money and hiring them, getting them to hire you as their coach, people back out and people only want to, get the free stuff. If you've ever been in a situation like that, put me in the chat. Yeah. I think a lot of us, right? Yeah, I've been there as well. So the reason that this happens is because the purpose of the chemistry session is not to solve the person's problem. If you coach the person in the discovery session, they will take all the free stuff, and at some point you have to make a transition to talk about your offer, to talk about how you can help them as a coach if they decide to work with you. Now, this is where the challenge of a lot of coaches lie and new coaches lie. And that's why I recommend all of you think about what is the journey of transformation that your clients will take with you. You don't have to know all the answers, but at least a basic idea of where they will go and how you can take them there. Okay. Obviously, because this is coaching, we can't figure out every single step right from the beginning, but some level of awareness about your framework or your system is very important to create your offer. Okay. So I'm going to go back to slide deck. If you can follow me so far, please put yes in the chat. All right. Very good. So understand that when you work with clients as their coach, you're actually taking them on a journey. So divide that transformation journey into 3 phases, just like what I shared right now. And now, for those of you who want to figure out how to price your services, this is the answer for that. Instead of having like one fixed price, right? One fixed price for your package, what I recommend is you price your services into 3 different levels. Okay, so for example, when you're talking to someone in a discovery call, you can actually do a little bit of coaching in the beginning, and towards the end of it, you can make a transition to talking about your offer, your services, and show them the journey. So say to them, so Mr. or Miss, whoever that is, this is the journey that I will take you if you decide to work with me, and this is how I can help you. And this is phase number 1, this is phase number 2, and phase number 3. And each phase can have a few different sessions. And if you can have some clarity on what those sessions are going to be about, that'll be great. But if you don't have clarity on that right now, that is okay. Don't worry about it. So what I'm saying is you decide the pricing in 3 different levels. Phase 1, it can be X number of rupees or dollars. And phase 2, it's about Y rupees or Y dollars. And phase 3 is about Z rupees, Z dollars. So instead of having one fixed price, you divide that into 3 different levels. And the advantage of doing this is if someone doesn't want to go for the entire package because of whatever reason, you can say to them, what if we start just with the first phase? And get them to sign with you for the first phase only to begin with. Because a lot of people, they may not want to invest a lot of money and time upfront. Like they have to see the value, right? So get them to sign for the first phase. And once you finish that, you can make an upsell, as we call it in the world of marketing and sales. You can say, so would you like to continue and do the next 2 levels as well? Right? So this way, you have a complete package for your offer. And at the same time, you're giving people an option to choose only first phase if that's what they want. A lot of times when you talk about your pricing, if that is outside their budget, you kind of lose a client if you have only one pricing. But if you have 3 different levels, 3 different phases, people usually go forward as long as you are a good fit. Okay. Gurunath has a question. Yes, go ahead, please.
Aki, my apologies. I didn't mean to, interrupt you.
No.
But the question that was begging to be asked is, and I may have missed it and you would have said it, how do you, decide what should be in the first phase, second phase, third phase?
Very good. I have an activity for that. I want to look for a volunteer. I'll be doing that very soon. Okay. So this is for all of you to understand, the process, and I will take one person as a volunteer to do that. So the purpose of doing this is to make it easy for you to communicate your value and for your potential clients to clearly understand how exactly you can help them. So why are we creating a compelling offer in this way? It's for 2 different reasons. Number 1, when you communicate to your potential client, you need to be clear about what you're talking about, right? So in that moment, if you talk about, powerful questioning or coaching competency, things like that, people outside the world of coaching don't understand that. So a lot of people go very technical and try to kind of sell people on why coaching is great. But people outside the world of coaching don't understand that. So number one, it's for you to easily communicate your value. And number two, it's for your potential client to understand how they can benefit when they work with you. Okay. So I know it's a bit challenging. So this is why I gave you a few examples, right? So these are the examples that I talked about before. So what I'd like to do now is I'd like to have one person as a volunteer, and I will help that person to create your compelling offer. And I think, Madhulika, you had your arms up before. So would you like to be the volunteer for this one?
Let's try. I have no clue what you're going to do. So, but let's try.
All right, good. So trust me, you're in good hands. All right.
That I trust. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Okay. So let's make it very easy for you. Okay. There's no expectation. There's no specific outcome that I'm looking for. My intention is to help you take 2-3 steps closer to creating a compelling offer. And hopefully by the end of it, you will have a clear idea. But if not, you will be at least a few steps closer. Okay. So tell me this, at this moment, do you have clarity on what your niche is and who you want to help?
Somewhat.
Okay, share with us.
So, like you said, the journey which is similar to yours is somewhere you find strength and clarity, confidence to be able to help. So that would be a space of working women, areas of parenting, relational conflicts. So family, parenting, women leaders. That's where I think.
Perfect. Okay. So for the sake of this activity, because we have limited time, right? The thought process behind understanding this for any different niche is the same. But let's choose one target market for this activity, and I'll help you use this and create a compelling offer. So which target market would you like to choose? Is it working lead women or?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So it's working women. Excellent. So tell me this, imagine that, someone, a working woman, work with you, right? Maybe for a few months or a few weeks. And what could be an outcome that they can achieve as a result of working with you?
One is to be able to look at life in a balanced way. So balance work and life.
Okay.
Second, I would say, which is important, is feel less guilty about it.
Okay.
More forgiving for themselves and for others.
Okay.
Being emotionally intelligent.
Okay.
All
right. So out of all these things, right, balance, forgiving themselves, what is the biggest outcome of all, in your opinion?
I think emotional intelligence, because if I think one has that, a lot of these things can be managed or at least examined by the person themselves.
Okay, good. So you want to help working women improve their emotional intelligence?
Maybe, yes.
Good. So without going into too many details, I would like you to think about if a working woman is on a discovery call with you, on a chemistry call with you, right? And you're about to tell her how you can help her as her coach. So, and let's say she decides to proceed with you. Whatever you're charging, she's happy to pay you and work with you. Okay. So what is the first area in their mind or in their life that needs to be addressed in order for them to become more emotionally intelligent?
I think the first area is to be kinder to themselves. So self-loving and kind.
Interesting. And if you could tell her one reason why self-love is very important to her, what would you say?
Because I really believe that if she's not able to do that, then everything is going to look very hard, because it is hard. It is hard.
Absolutely.
There has to be compassion for herself.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Have you taken any other training other than ICF?
Yes. Yeah. I have been in the landmark programs for a very long time.
Excellent. So in that case, you understand about metaphors, right?
Yes, yes.
Awesome. So when you say this, what comes to my mind is that you can use a metaphor of, again, a skyscraper if you want. So, becoming more emotionally intelligent is kind of like building a skyscraper for herself. And the foundation work is the self-love, like you said, because without that, nothing is going to work.
Yeah,
Right?
I just think that's the first step to, start with.
Exactly. Yeah. And I don't want to put my thoughts into it. Let me ask you this. Is it possible to achieve self-love in just one session?
It is possible to see that you've not been self-loving.
So it's awareness, basically.
Yeah.
Right. So let me suggest a few things to you. In what you're telling me, the first step in that journey of your offer, of your program, is self-love.
Yeah.
And at this moment, I'm not very sure how many sessions you might need, but you will definitely need a few different sessions, right? Maybe
I
3.
imagine in my head, maybe 5 to 6 is what
There
I
you
imagine.
go. So that could be the first step in your 3 steps. Okay. Self-love. Because in order for her to have more emotional intelligence and everything else that's important to her, this is the starting point. And I think it's the same for all of us, right? Not just for working women. It's the same for all of us, because we give everything to other people, but we don't love ourselves enough. So I think it's the same for all of us. Okay, so that's the first step, right? So let's imagine that she has completed 5 to 6 sessions with you, and she is able to have more self-love. So what's the next thing she needs to focus on, or she needs to improve in order for her to increase her emotional intelligence?
I think it's ability to lean on, so ask for help and support when needed.
Right. Perfect.
So be able to ask for it.
Yeah, and a lot of people have a problem with that, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Because for some reason or the other, society has programmed us to consider
Not
asking help as a sign of weakness.
Weakness.
Actually, it's a sign of strength, right?
Yeah.
How many of you can relate with that? If you can relate, please put your hand up. Yeah. So, and thank you, Madhulika, for sharing this, because what you're saying, right? I think a lot of people can relate what you're saying in their own life. So in a way, you're helping, people have clarity. So that's great. That's the second level. Okay. So ability to ask for help. And what exactly does she need to do in order to be able to ask for help? If you can give
To be able to have conversations with people around her in her closest circle. It could be at her workplace, it could be her managers, colleagues, juniors, even people at home. So to be able to have authentic conversations with them.
Go. Absolutely. And if it's okay for me to suggest one thing, because I've worked with a few coaches, and what they've told me, and women especially, and they're focused on helping women. So what I learned from them is that a lot of women have a challenge in maintaining their boundary and saying no.
Yeah.
Men also have it, but I've heard this a lot from women. Yeah.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I would recommend to you is in that bracket of learning to ask for help, one of the important areas, like a subtopic, will be learning to say no, or learning to maintain a boundary.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. So now let's say that she has crossed that phase, which is learning to ask for help. What's the next step in order for her to have more emotional intelligence?
I would say then she could do things of self-care and development, personal, like at this stage, she could find more time. I believe by this time, she's able to get or feel the balance, get the balance. And so now would be a time to invest in interest, hobbies, just having a good time in life.
Excellent. So there you go. That's basically your offer. So we have like a surface level understanding. So what I would recommend to you is, at this stage, after we finish this masterclass, I would recommend you to take a piece of pen and paper or a computer, whatever you prefer, and write down your offer in 1 page.
Awesome. That's a great exercise. Thank you. I'm glad I did this with you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And what you can do is for the phase 1, which is self-love, and you said 5 to 6 sessions, right? So think about what could be an amount that you feel happy with.
Okay.
Obviously, we all want to make as much as we can, but to begin with, what could be something that you feel valued at?
Now, here is the issue which I'm going to share with you now. The journey which I have taken, which I want to contribute to this set of women. I understand that this category will have limited ability to shell out money on coaching.
Okay. All right. So let me share with you a solution. I have 2 solutions, and it's not going to be easy, but when you do it, you'll actually get results. Okay. Number 1 is you can create a group program around it, because I can tell you 100% sure, based on my understanding of what you said. Last year, October last year, I did a group session, which was like way more into detail of what I'm talking about in this masterclass today. So it was like a 6-week program. So one of my client told me very similar things as what you said. So she worked in a company for a long time, and now she's like making a transition. So she's working with women as well. Okay. So what she did was she was facing a very similar challenge. So instead of focusing on one-on-one, she utilized what she learned from my program, and she made a group program.
Wow.
So instead of charging X amount of rupees that you really want from one client, she focused on making it more affordable. And she reached out to a lot of people who are in her audience and in the audience of the people that she knew. So in the very first program, she got 4 clients.
Wow. So 4 personal clients she got from the group.
It's a group program. Right?
Okay.
So that's one recommendation that I would give, because if you have a group program, right, obviously it's easier to scale in that aspect. So you'll be able to, make more in that aspect. Okay, that's one.
Right.
The second thing I would recommend is, in my experience, like almost everyone struggles with what you just said. If you can concentrate on those group of women who are in a very good position, like they can invest in a coach, right? And obviously there's so many women like that.
Yeah.
So that could be one option for you for one-on-one. So instead of focusing on women who may not have the financial resources, you try to reach out to the women who have the money to do it and are willing to work on themselves. So these 2 things will definitely help you. What I would say is you should focus on these 2 things, not one or the other, because
both
the things you mentioned, right? This is a good recipe for a group program.
Right.
Yeah, because a lot of these things you need to kind of do a training and then the coaching.
Right.
So
And
in
also
that,
there's some strength, I think, in listening to other people being in the same place.
sorry.
There may be some strength in listening to other women having similar things to deal with. So maybe some strength coming, therefore working.
Absolutely,
the group learning.
absolutely. So there's something called the evolution of a group, forming, norming, like there's an evolution of a So I think that'll be really good. Yeah. All right, good. So thank you,
Thank you so much.
Let's give her a hand. You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right. So
I am very glad that I worked with you. So thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And I'm glad that you got clarity on this. So that was my second promise, all of you. The way to sell your coaching services without being salesy or pushy is by knowing the journey of transformation your clients will take with you. So if you think I kept that promise, you know what number to put, right? Put number 2 in the chat, please. Okay. All right. Excellent. Let's go to the last part of content. And this is one of the most important topics with respect to having a compelling offer, because once you have your offer ready, you need to know how to sell it. You kind of understood how to do that. The next step is to find the right people. Okay. So this is where I'm going to share with you a little story. So this is the picture of the very first group session that I did, almost, I think, 4 or 5 years ago now. And I remember when I created a group program for coaches on a very similar topic as today, I put a post on my Facebook asking, I'm looking for 7 people and this is the topic. And as soon as I have 7 people, I will delete this post. And I got the 7 people really quickly. And this is the picture of that. So the reason I'm telling you this story is because the only way I was able to get that 7 people is because somehow I already had those 7 people in my network. And at that time, I did not know that this is the key to actually creating and promoting a programs, to have the right audience around you. So I finally understood how to find the people who'd love to pay me for my service. And I'm going to share that with you. The first thing to understand is people with a similar interest will, Gurunath, I'll answer your question. This is the last part of the content. Let me finish this. People with a similar interest will always hang out at a specific place, whether online or offline. So look at this masterclass here. We are from different parts of the country, maybe different countries, right? And we all have a common interest, and that is coaching, creating a compelling package for your coaching. Similarly, people interested in leadership, they might go to a leadership conference or a leadership seminar. People interested in health and fitness might go to a yoga center, meditation center, a gym, right? So the key is to understand, like now that you have clarity on your niche, your positioning, the 3 phases, hopefully, the next step is to understand where are these people already? Because they exist, right? They already exist, maybe online or offline. So one of the key areas is to know LinkedIn. Yeah. So you have to figure out where they're already going and meet them there. So what this means, let me give an example in the context of LinkedIn. By the way, Kenneth, Namrata, does everyone here know the story of how we met? I'm curious to, you don't know? Okay. So let me share that. So a few months ago, I can't remember exactly when, a few months ago, I connected with Namrata on LinkedIn. And I have an activity that I do regularly on LinkedIn where I find coaches and send them a connection request without any sales pitch, just connection. And I invited Namrata just have a normal conversation, like a connection call, right? So at the end of the connection call, Namrata send me a message, and Namrata said, we have a community. Would you like to do a masterclass for it? It's going to be pro bono, but if you're happy to do it, we can organize it. And then Namrata introduced me to Kenneth. And then Kenneth, Namrata, and I had a discussion 3 weeks or so ago. And then now we're here. So why am I talking about this? Is because Kenneth and Namrata are those 2 people who can help me find the right audience in my niche. Similarly, for whatever niche you're in, I recommend you to think about where you can find people who are connected to that niche. So one way to utilize LinkedIn is if you go to the search bar on LinkedIn and put a keyword related to your niche, let's say self-love or leadership, and click on groups, because LinkedIn has a mechanism to filter out the connections. So click on groups and you will see all the groups associated with that particular topic. So I recommend all of you to join as many active groups, okay? Not the dead ones. Join the active groups and look at the conversations that's already happening. And if people are asking questions in that, and if you can answer those questions, become a contributor. So to begin with, at least invest 30 minutes, at least 5 days a week on LinkedIn to become a contributor in the audience, in the groups where the people in that group are your target audience. So when they see a value coming from you, what will happen is that people will want to connect with you. Yeah. And if people want to connect with you, you can actually even invite them to have a discovery session or a chemistry session, because it's not a sales pitch anymore, because you were like contributing, answering questions, and then people want to connect with you. So this is something that's going to take some time. It's not a magic trick, but trust me, this really works, because people will invest time, money, and energy everywhere they see the value. So the more value that you can create in front of the right audience, the better your chances of attracting the right audience. And it's the same thing for offline as well. If let's say BNI, for example, or any other like groups or seminars or conferences where the people in your target audience are there, you could get an opportunity there to share your message. Let's say by becoming a speaker or doing a free masterclass or a webinar or something like that. right? To be very honest, the reason why I'm doing this masterclass is the same reason. One, I got a chance to share my experience with all of you. And if any of you want to connect with me and have my help in growing your business, I'm more than happy to help, right? But it's the same things, irrespective of what topic, what niche you're in. If you know where your audience are hanging out already, and you can put yourself there and become a contributor, people will want to connect with you. Okay. So I know it's easy to say, but hard to do practically. Let me share with you a story of one of my client and how he did it. So his name is Rafa. Rafa is from Spain, but he lives in Vietnam. And about 4 years ago, he joined one of my programs. And towards the end of this program, actually, before even completing the program, he was able to get his very first paid coaching contract within 4 weeks. And I'd like to share with you the exact 6-step process Rafa followed, and I'm very sure a lot of you can really benefit from this process. Step number 1, what he did was he decided which area of life he was going to help his clients in. And many of you have already made that decision, I'm very sure. Step 2, he identified the specific challenges he would help them with. Step 3, he reached people who fit his target client's profile. So to just give you a bit of a context, Rafa was transitioning into a coaching career, and he was a pilot. He was a captain for like 20 years, and he was transitioning from a pilot into a business coach and trainer. So he realized that because in the world of airlines, punctuality is so important, and they had a different system of keeping time. Can't remember the name he said, but a different unique system of making people to show up on time and improve punctuality, basically, and time management. So that's what he focused on. So he took that system and he took it inside corporates. So he reached out to a lot of companies in his contact, and he got the first contract with the Spanish Stock Market Institute. And he did a group program for them. That's what he did in step number 3, reached out to the people who fit his target client's profile. Step 4, in the discovery session, in the chemistry session, he asked them what challenges they needed help with. So instead of having like one standard program and trying to sell that program, he asked them, what are the challenges you need help with? What are the top problems you're facing? And this is my answer to all of you who are asking, how do you utilize the chemistry session? Because you ask what they really are struggling with, okay? And then you look at how you can help them maybe create a compelling package, a specific package for that particular person. Because as a coach, everyone you're working with is different. And if you have like a one-size-fits-all approach, it's going to be slightly difficult. I mean, really difficult. So if you can modify your offer slightly, depending on what they need help with, it'll increase the chances of conversion, okay? He invited them for a first meeting or a discovery call. And then in the step 6, he made a compelling offer based on their challenges. So between step 1 and step 6, there was a few days because he did the initial discovery meeting and he went back to create a proposal. And he came back and he presented that compelling offer, the compelling program, and then he was able to sign the client. So I recommend all of you to follow a similar process. You don't have to necessarily make your offer in the very first discovery session, especially if you're not experienced in sales. If you have a sales background, you can do that in the first session. But if you don't, I recommend find out what their problems are, find out what their challenges are, go back and create like the 3 phases for that particular person and have a second meeting with them within a few days. By the way, the second meeting is not another chemistry session, okay? It's just a quick conversation to show them what is the offer that you have for them, what is the coaching package that you've created for this particular person, and then talk to them about the investment and everything. And then basically, go from there, get them onboarded. If they don't want to go for the entire package, invite them to try the first phase. And when you do a good job with that, they'll naturally want to go to the other as well. Okay, so this way you're mitigating the risk of people saying no. Okay, all right. So the way to attract potential clients is to identify where they're already going, meet them there and tell them about your service, which is what I briefly outlined now. And that was my promise number 3. If you think I kept that, please put 3 in the chat. Yep. Kamal, this is a great question. I will answer that in the Q&A session. Thank you, everybody. So let me summarize quickly what we talked about today. The step number 1 was the RPS, the results planning system. Step number 2, how to sell your coaching services without being salesy or pushy, the 3 phases. And step number 3 is to find potential clients online and offline. So that is the end of our content officially. So thank you to all of you for being here for this entire content. So let's go to Q&A. And the first question I'd like to answer is from Kamal. What are your views on pricing in numbers? I feel it in most webinars. This focus is on the steps, not necessarily what might be the market trend in terms of actually numbers. Kamal, if you could unmute yourself, because I would like to have more clarity on your question. Where are you? Can you put your hand up? Ah, hi, nice to meet you. How are you?
Hi, very well, thank you.
Yeah, so if you can please elaborate your question.
So I think it's pretty much what I've written, which means I don't think that there is transparency or openness in terms of what fellow coaches are charging in similar niches. So I work in the space of leadership coaching and career transition coaching as well. So the question is, do I have a sense of what fellow leadership development coaches are charging? What kind of package are they structuring? Is there any data available on that? Perhaps not. And I think a lot of us are clear on the theory behind how do you structure an offering and all of that. But I think where the rubber hits the road is the actual value. And what is it that flies? What is it that flies? What is it that doesn't?
Okay.
So that is, I think, very, very valuable.
Number, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, good. So when you say leadership, like who is the target market? Is it senior leaders, is it mid leaders, or?
Yes, senior leaders.
Senior leaders, okay. What's their age group approximately?
35 to 55.
Okay. So if that's the case, actually there is no set number, because there are people who are willing to take really high investment for coaching, and then there are some people who might still consider low priced as expensive. There's nothing called expensive and cheap. So what I would say is, to begin with, for this target market, they have the money. So it's not that they don't have the money. So what I would recommend is are you like starting your coaching journey right now? Or are you experienced a little bit? If you can tell me about that.
No, I've been coaching. So the problem is that I've been coaching through various channel partners. So, you either get empaneled or you work with partners who are already working in this space. And so therefore, the need to directly approach the clients hasn't arisen yet. But I think that is certainly the logical next step in order to move your practice to the next level, which is how do you really approach organizations? And so therefore, what are the kind of packages that you need to structure that will fly? And I think that for that, data around what other coaches are doing or what companies are doing, et cetera, is very valuable. And I think that data is not available in the market at all.
Yeah. So I'll share with you what has been my experience based on some of my clients who are in the similar space. So I have one client who is helping, just like you, leaders in that age group. So what she's charging is 10,000 rupees per session. And also she has a package as well. So for her package, so for example, let's say the package has 4 sessions or 5 sessions. If someone goes for the entire package, she gives them a small discount. And if they want to go for an individual session, she's going at 10,000 rupees per session. Now I have another client who's based in the US. So internationally, what she told me was 250 USD, which is about, I think, about 25, no, not 25, about 20,000, I think, if I'm getting the conversions correct. So that's what is being accepted internationally. So what I would recommend is, for your target group, in my experience, value is what they're really looking for. I don't think they're looking at cheap prices. If they're looking at cheap prices, then it's perhaps better to avoid them. But I would say it's better to start with that kind of a number. And create a good offer, create a compelling offer, and talk about the 3 different phases if possible. And then create one big package which has a big amount for the 3 phases. And you can also talk about the individual pricing for the different phases. And then ask them what they want to do.
So in one of my recent experiences, with one of the clients who was going through a transition issue, which means that he didn't have a job right now.
Yeah.
But he came to me through a referral
Okay.
of a client that I had coached some months back, because he was a senior leader from the same organization, and he shared with him his experience of working with me. And now this particular gentleman is also in the same situation, which is a layoff situation.
Okay.
And so he's in between jobs right now and is not quite sure on what his next step is going to be. So I know that, when you work with people in this phase, it's a lot of heavy lifting that you need to do to support them. There is not just one piece. It's emotional support, it's job search support, it's also exploring their strengths and exploring the possibilities sort of support. So it's not a very straightforward phase
Correct.
that you can talk about. There can be
Yeah.
emotional spillovers across all 3 or 4 stages.
Yeah.
Which means that the heavy lifting in terms of checking in with them, shorter check-in calls, apart from longer calls, etc., becomes more important.
Yeah.
And he said that I really, really want to work with you. And, I have got good feedback and all of that. And when I gave him the offer, which was about 3 months of work and 1.6 lakhs, now this person came back and he said, I really want to work with you, but I think that I'm between jobs. And so this is not going to perhaps work for me at this point.
Okay.
So there are 2 things, 2 decision points, in that moment. It's a referral, so you want to honor that.
Yeah.
Because the person comes to you with some background about, so that heavy lifting you don't need to do. There is this trust that's already there. But the person comes back and says, I think that I will not be comfortable with this number. I'm perhaps looking at something like 75 to 80,000, which is pretty much like slashed to half. Now, in that situation, the feedback that one is getting from the clients, you start to then doubt, is this even a number that's going to fly in the future? And so what should be the strategy where people come back with counters that are like dismal?
Yeah. Very good question. This happens all the time.
Yeah.
Irrespective of what niche you're in. So let me share with you what I would do if I were in your position, because I've faced a similar situation a few times. So when you give, obviously all of us want our clients to take the big package, right? Because we would love to have that. But if that doesn't happen, and if he's saying to you that he's looking at something between 75 to 80, that is a positive sign. He's not rejecting your offer completely. So what you want to do is, okay, think about it like this, right? Like if they want to find a new job and they're in between transitions, it's almost like trekking a mountain. And you can't climb directly. You have to go from camp to camp to camp. So what you've given them is the offer to get to the peak of the mountain. So if he's saying that I can do 75 to 80, ask yourself, if you're happy to do that, what is it that you're happy to include in your offer? Perhaps you can cut out a few things from your original offer and give him what he really needs in the next 1 month or 2 months, and which you're happy to do for 75 to begin with. And you can clearly mention to him that this is my program, this is what I have. Unfortunately, I won't be able to give you exactly the same thing at this price, but the good news is that I will be able to support you in this investment that you're ready to make. And this is what I can give you, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever that you can include in that. So that's what I would recommend, because this is a very clear sign that someone wants to work with you and is telling you a number which is Obviously not as high as 1.6, but it still is decent to begin with in my experience,
Mhm.
because he's saying that he wants to work with you, right? So if you find a middle ground right now, and this is one more thing I want to give as a takeaway for all of you. Like, never really get disappointed too much if someone says like this, because as much as we want to get the big number, it doesn't happen like that all the time. So if you're aware of the word upselling, for some of you who may not be aware of it, it's called basically make one person an offer for an X amount, and when they finish it, you make another offer which is for a higher amount, or maybe the same amount but a different program. So this way, what you can do is you can give them the certainty that you've already worked with them, they've got value from you, you've gotten paid whatever amount that might be, and when you make the upsell, maybe after a month or a few weeks, you're in a better position to ask for the next offer, to make the next offer, basically. So I would highly recommend, Kamal, think about it, what is it that you can include for the amount that he said, and let it be the first part of your offer. And you can mention to him, obviously I can't give you everything in that because it's going to be a lot of time. So tell him what you just told me, emotional support, and basically mention all these things in your offer. You can actually mention that, so when I create my offer, I mention these things, phone call or recordings and things like that. So ask yourself, what are the things that he needs and what is it that you can provide, and remove everything that you cannot do for 75 to 80,000, whatever the number is, and include only those things that are high priority for him. And I'm sure you know what that is. So once he completes it, go for the next one. And you can tell them in advance, this is the next part of it. And once we complete first part, if you want to proceed to it, I'm more than happy to work with you. So this way it's a win-win.
So I think, what I'm hearing from you is that it's important to, really, really structure your offer, which is something that I haven't done.
Yeah.
And then so I think the challenge would be at a very different level, which is to say what is going to be the first part and what is going to be the second part and the third part.
So just one more thing, I want to say this again to everybody. When we're creating a structure for the offer, obviously, we can't predict everything that's going to happen because we're working with the person, right? A human being. But at the same time, they do not understand that because they don't come from the coaching world, so they don't understand it. So they're looking at, okay, Kamal is a coach, she can help me with this. What do I get from her? So it's to find a middle ground between the ease of your explanation and the clarity that they can have when they hear your offer. Once they accept it, they pay you, you're working with them, then you can get into all the technical details that you want as a coach. But before that, it will really help you if you structure your offer and to get the foot in the door, basically, yeah. So once you have that and you have an opportunity to make an upsell at the end of the first part of your offer. Because most likely, right, and I'm not 100% sure if this is the case with that person, but I can tell you 50% that if he says he is looking at 75 to 80,000, he actually has the ability to invest at least 1 lakh or 1.2 for sure. So if he's in that age group that you mentioned, most of the age group are very logical, or they train themselves to be logical, right? And we want to be safe as well when we're investing a certain amount with a coach. So I would say use that number that he said, create a program that fits that. And at the same time, mention to him, this is what I'll give you. And this is in the next part, which we'll focus on once we finish this. And trust me, it's going to work.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome. All right, there are some other questions in the chat. Bindu has a question. Does the structure for your offer have a basic spin-off from your personal coaching model? Interesting. Could you please, give me some more details? Bindu, are you there? I can't see you. Hi, nice to meet you, Bindu. How are you?
Hi, all good. Thank you. Hope the same with you. Interesting session, great value for time. Thank you so much for this. So I was wondering, when you're saying structure your offer, everyone has a personal coaching model. I understand that that is a requirement that ICF has.
Yeah.
When you go through your ACC process, that everyone who presents themselves for that qualification needs to have a coaching model that you follow. Everyone's own coaching model, a personal coaching model. So when you're saying structure your offer, would you then be meaning to say that, structure it around or take a spin-off from whatever it is that you have decided is your personal coaching model?
Well, that's a good question. You don't necessarily have to talk about your personal coaching model in that space, because you use the personal coaching model when they decide to pay you and work with you.
No, not actually. I would say that you would need to, it would be one of the things that you would need to, probably show your client as the value that you bring to the conversation, because you have clarity about the process, what is going to happen first, what's going to happen next, what's going to happen then.
Talking about in terms of the offer, like what you just said, what's going to happen first, second, it's very similar to what I've mentioned, because you're kind of showing the client journey, right? So this is my answer, and I hope this makes sense to you. If your personal coaching model is able to show them the journey that they will take with you, and they see value in it, that itself can be your offer, basically. You don't have to
yes, that makes sense.
different. Yeah, and also, and in the context of pricing, if you can talk about your personal coaching model, and instead of having like one rigid pricing, you can split it up into 3. So your personal coaching model can be the same thing as your offer. You don't have to create 2 different things. So the entire point of doing all this, like I said, there are only 2 reasons why we're doing this. Number one, it's for you as a coach to find it easy to communicate your value, because a lot of coaches struggle with that, especially in the beginning. I struggled with that too. Secondly, it's for the other person to understand it in a non-technical way, because so many people talk about all the technical terms of coaching, coaching competencies and things like that. We know the importance of it, but they don't understand it. So yeah, does that make sense?
Makes sense, but there's one more doubt there. So I know that there are many people here who are following different methodologies and frameworks. The way I understand it, each coaching conversation needs to have all the components that are for ICF coaches. There has to be all those components present in a single coaching conversation. So which means to say, when you are doing a session, or when you're doing a packaging or splitting off the whole personal coaching model, how does that, I don't know if that's an acceptable thing. Yeah, but I don't know, maybe I don't know who can answer that question, but I don't know if that's an acceptable thing to price it separately.
So yeah, so like I said, right, this is a model that I've learned to use, and I've understood it from the last few years, and I've been able to help others use it as well. So what I would recommend is you take it as a suggestion, and if what I've shared today aligns with your personal way of presenting your offer, go forward with it. If it doesn't align with your personal style, then you don't need to use it, right? So I'm not saying that this is the only way to present your offer. I'm just saying that this is one way that has worked for me and for a lot of other people. So like I said, the way I look at presenting your offer is one word: clarity. For you to tell them what you can offer, and for the other person to understand what they can get from it. So if you have a different way, which is your own way of helping them understand that, use that. Don't change anything. But if you have having any challenges with that, try using the model I shared today, and then let me know how it goes.
Thank you. Appreciate it much. Clarity is a nice place to start.
Yeah, you're welcome. Madhulika has a question.
No,
Go ahead.
I just wanted to share. I think Kamal has already written something which may, if it is okay, can I share my understanding about Bindu's question?
Please.
So,
Yeah.
as I understand it, Bindu, each conversation, each coaching conversation, if you are following ICF format, each conversation has all the components. And what we're talking about here is the outcomes that will be available through a coaching journey for our client. Those outcomes have to be packaged or structured in 3 phases. Like, I think that's what Akhilesh was trying to tell us, that outcome, how are we giving them the outcome? That's what we are staging and structuring. Whereas each conversation, so if you have 10 conversations in the entire package, each of the 10 conversation will be complete conversation as per all the ICF format or any other format that you keep.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for summarizing that.
Akasha.
Okay. So we have a few more questions. Kenneth, you have some questions here. How to not underprice or overprice? Okay. So again, I'll come back to the 3 phases for that. In my opinion, the only way to really know what works and what doesn't is to try out the number that you really want to charge in the first place. So for example, if you want to charge, let's say, $3,000 for your coaching program, the entire coaching program, the 3 phases, the big pricing can be the $3,000. And the individuals can be $1,000 each, or maybe $1,500 or $500, whatever that you want to charge. So as far as I have seen, there's not really any specific number that is low or too high, because I've seen coaches who are charging 1,000 rupees a session, and then people still complain it's too expensive. And I've also seen people who are mostly PCC, MCC, they go in at 40,000 a session, people still pay for it. So there is really not any specific number from my experience that I've seen. So the only way to know it is to try out. So one more tip I'll say in this aspect is, let's say you're charging, let's say, 7,000 rupees for a session, for example. If you're able to get, let's say, 3 to 4 clients with the same pricing, the next time you do a discovery session, increase that pricing by 20%. Everything is the same. Your offer is the same. If you're able to get 3 to 4 people who say yes to it, it's a clear sign that your target market is happy to do it. So you can increase the pricing by 20% and continue to do that. As long as you feel value at what people are paying you, I think is okay. But not reducing it too low is also not okay, because you then run the risk of attracting people who are not serious. If you charge too less, what I've seen is a lot of people, they're not quality people. So I would say whatever number you want to charge to begin with, use the framework that you've learned today, go ahead and make that pitch, make that offer. And the moment you get 3 to 4 clients for that pricing, the next time you do a discovery call, increase it by 20%. So the next question was, are group packages better to make coaching affordable? Very good question. I would say it's better to have a group coaching offer and a one-to-one offer. So if you have an audience that is, let's say, nurtured, and you have a decent number of people in the audience, you can make a group offer from time to time, like once in 2 months or something like that. You can make a group program and you can offer that program to those people. I would say, yes, group program is more affordable compared to one-on-one. But again, it depends on who is it that you're targeting, because some people, they want that one-on-one connection. So even though group coaching may be cheaper, they want that one-on-one. So if you want to make coaching more affordable and reach more people, yes, go for the group program. At the same time, also one thing I will recommend is, every time you do a group program, at the end of the group program, you make an offer to work with you one-on-one. Because some people in that group will want to work with you one-on-one. And when that happens, you can charge them your one-on-one price. Right? And to make the offer even sweeter, if someone proceeds to one-on-one program from your group program, you can give them a special price for that. So let's say a person who's not done a group program is working with you one-on-one. They might, let's say you're charging them 1.5 lakhs, for example. So if someone comes through your group program, perhaps you can give them a 10%, 15% discount, if that's okay with you. So that people have an incentive, right? So they don't feel like they're paying more. So this is the way to give special privileges to your audience who paid you already. So yeah, I hope I answered the question. Yeah. All right. Next question was how to do a market research to benchmark for pricing. Honestly, I haven't come across any way, like specific way to do market research. Like I said, I've seen coaches charging different pricing, anywhere from 500 rupees to 1,000 rupees, and like people in the international market charging $50, $100. So people charging different rates. I really haven't come across any one way to do market research. I would say the only way is by your own experience. And I'll go back to my original answer. Ask yourself, what is the fee that you want to charge for the coaching that you do? Use the framework you learned today, make the offer, and the moment you get 3 to 4 clients, increase it. And obviously, you do as much as possible to upskill yourself, right? Because as a coach, we're constantly learning. The learning doesn't stop. So the more skills you have, you will have more ideas of making a better offer. So I'll give you one example. When I started to do group programs, one idea that I got was in my one-to-one programs, sometimes if the client, depending on the situation, I make an offer which has one-to-one support plus the recordings of my group program. So even though I'm working with a one-on-one client, I sometimes give a recording of the program to this person. So it's like an extra bonus for them. So that's one way to make your offer, even better. So there's so many ways to make offer better, but what I talked about today was like the basic framework of it. Yeah. So we'll have one last question. Minal, yes, go ahead, please.
Hi. Hi, Atul.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Quick question. So
Yeah.
I was looking at coaching in the area of health and wellness.
Yeah.
And I was actually looking at maybe coaching between like the age group of 16 to about 25, because a lot of them suffer from self-esteem issues and they're trying to just figure out their fitness journey and stuff. I think the challenge I would have is obviously I'm not sure how much they can pay. You know what I'm saying? Considering that they're a much younger age group just starting out. So now that I've heard your session, I mean, I kind of got my target audience because I was looking at the whole spectrum of,
Very
16 to like 60.
Okay.
But then I'd like to narrow in on this so that, they have the rest of their life to kind of then work on that.
Okay.
But again, like I said, the challenge is how much can I possibly charge them, knowing that, they're just starting out. So I'm just trying to figure out.
After my working with university students, and I did that for like 16 to 20, 16 to 22, most likely. Your target customer is it's not those people. Your target customer is the parents.
I was just going to say,
the ones
yes.
who pay for it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it is a very difficult market to make a decent income. So
Mhm.
what I would say is, I would recommend to not keep that as your main
Okay.
target audience. You choose a different
Mhm.
audience, let's say 30 plus, for example, resources, the financial
Yeah.
resources, and
Yeah.
make your income at least like, let's say 80% of it,
Yeah.
and utilize a part of your time.
Mhm.
And you can still charge a smaller amount for it because, more satisfaction when you do.
Absolutely. Yep.
So that's what I would recommend, focus on, you can actually focus on 2 different target market, that's okay.
Mhm.
But begin with, especially on LinkedIn, for example, concentrate on one target market,
Right.
because you focus on too many different targets, people confuse. And
True.
you don't want to be right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. Do we have any other? Praveen has a question. I bundle my coaching services as part of HR consulting package. Any thoughts on how to create a Yeah, fantastic question. Praveen, are you still here? Oh, yeah, I can see you. If you can turn on your camera and your microphone, please.
Yes.
Yeah, how are you?
Maybe it's really about getting people to improve performance. And so it could be as basic as starting from creating goal sheets to maybe ahead and creating, maybe going ahead and creating scorecards for them, and then seeing whether there is any linkage with the competence that organization may have. And even if for some reason they don't have one, then maybe create one for them. So quickly, in brief, I hope I've given some idea. Now, what happens is once you have competencies in place and goal sheets are created, then the leaders, managers would need help to achieve them, and they have individual challenges which they can't spell out in our group meetings and strategy meetings that we have. So then that would the individual coaching part would come. And then there, of course, as I said, there's no one case where I say, okay, coaching only will cost this much. It's an X amount for the whole package, but it's bundled. So I don't know if that is the purview of this discussion, but if you have some thoughts, thanks.
I understand now. Thank you for elaborating that. So what I would say, you can go about in 2 different ways, and you can choose which one is best for you. First thing is, when you make a proposal, obviously you'll make a proposal before you do the actual consulting. So in your proposal, one part of your proposal can be about the consulting. And the other part of your proposal could be about the coaching part, where you can tell them, as we complete the consulting part, different people might have individual challenges, and this is where coaching is so important, and I can help them as a coach. And you can mention to them, if they don't know, you can mention to them what is coaching and how coaching can help them. That's one. Second way is you make a proposal only for the consulting part and get that deal closed. You do the consulting job, and once you finish that consulting, project, obviously you have to talk to some decision maker at the end of it, right? So at that time, you can mention to them, this person struggling with, whatever challenges. I can help them as a coach. Would you like me to do that? And there'll be a different offer that you make. So yeah, this could be one way for you to do it. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, to some extent, yes. I was just wondering if one needs to then create a separate compelling package at all only for coaching, or it's really whether once you're sold the consulting package, then maybe the coaching automatically goes alongside. So one needs to differently. That
I would say focus on, yeah.